scene was opened by showing a coffin that was quite luxurious, and a system voice in the coffin then sounded saying that the last disciple had successfully broken through to the Holy Realm, so it was activated. Later, someone in that coffin opened his eyes, and he immediately ordered the system voice to shut up. This man is none other than Yibei. He is a demon emperor who in the past activated a system called Dissen. The system requires Yibei to have 108 students and make each student understand the path to the Holy Realm. And finally, Yibei managed to gather 108 students who were all female, but until his age was over, he didn't succeed in making them all understand the way to the Holy Realm because his students were too many. That's how he ended up in this coffin, while his disciples were still trying to break through in the Holy Realm. 300 years of Yibei's death passed, and finally, 108 of his students managed to break through to the Holy Realm, so the system was successfully activated, and Yibei finally rose again from his death and received the power of the system, which is likely an eternity year. The details are still unknown, so leaving that aside. Waking up, of course, Yibei became curious about who was his stupid student who needed 300 years to break through to the Holy Realm. He asked that to the system, but the system then replied that it doesn't know. The system turns out to have privacy rights for the students. Yibei couldn't insist on the system, so he replaced the question by asking when the second last person managed to enter the Holy Realm, and the system replied that it was 230 years ago. It means that there was a difference of 70 years with the last person. So knowing that, even then it was bad enough, he intends to give the last student a lesson because the student already dared to be so late. In the meantime, from outside of the temple where Yibei was resting, some people then came. The leader of the group was an old man named Mr. Li, who then activated a semi-holy late-stage magic to break the seal on the entrance of the temple. They then rushed inside the temple very excitedly and immediately became very surprised because there was a luxurious coffin lying in the middle of the altar. The chest was made of very rare Yakult wood, which is the best material for making high-quality treasures. Feeling curious, the group of people then immediately approached, and a strange aura then immediately gathered to cover the coffin. A group of people became confused about what was really going on, and Mr. Li then said if he was going to open the casket. The students then stepped aside to make way for him, and Li immediately tried to open the coffin. He cast magic through his hands, and finally he managed to open the coffin and found Yibei sleeping inside. Is he really dead? I felt that he's full of vitality, said a student. He's dead. He realized that his end was getting closer, and he died at the end of his life, said another student. The thoughts of doubt like that are natural things to arise, because Yibei's body is still complete even though he has been dead for 300 years. Mr. Li then suspects that someone must have entered treasure into his mouth to keep his body intact. Mr. Li then intended to take it directly, and right when his hand was almost touching Yibei's face, Yibei opened his eyes. Mr. Li and his students then immediately stepped back to make a distance, because they were very surprised. Tomb Raiders? You've got a lot of nerve, said Yibei, who then lifted his body out of the coffin. Who are you? Why are you here? Asked the student. Me? This tomb built for me, and you say, who am I? Answer Yibei, who then smiles horribly, making everyone very surprised. Impossible. The Demon Emperor was dead 300 years ago. How can the Demon Emperor look like a handsome young man? Asked the student without confusion. Mr. Li then asked his students to calm down immediately and emphasized that he was fake. You can feel his cultivation, right? It's just a ghost concentrating. One of the bald students then immediately pointed his sword at Yibei and threatened him if he didn't want to tell them the location of his treasure. In response to that, Yibei just smiled and thought that the student was stupid, while a bald student then immediately attacked Yibei with full strength. He thrust his sword at high speed, but Yibei managed to hold it off using only his 2 fingers. Then, Yibei smashed the sword into pieces with his 2 fingers, and of course, everyone was very surprised. Yibei then grabbed the neck of a bald student and lifted him. Yibei asked if the student wanted to die quickly while giving off a strong intimidating aura. The bald student also asked for the help of his friend named Rinsei. Then, Rinsei attacked Yibei and asked him to let go of his friend. "Who allowed you to scream in front of me?" said Yibei, who then immediately crushed someone in his grip. Rinsei, who was running to attack Yibei, was silent and shocked when he witnessed his friend disappear in an instant. He became frightened because Yibei managed to destroy the power of the final stage of the god's realm just by using his attacks, which looked normal. In short, he realized too late the power of Yibei because right the next moment, Yibei then immediately beheaded him very quickly. Yibei then looked at everyone left with a very terrible look, as if he wanted to hurry up finishing them all. Mr. Lee, who was fully aware of the situation, then immediately rushed to run away, but a bolt of lightning that encircled the room immediately stung him. Mr. Lee fell down, confused, wondering why there could be an active magic formation even though he didn't feel it at all. "You guys want to run, huh?" said Yibei, who smiled horribly, chased after them. The remaining students then begged for Yibei's forgiveness and explained that if they were only assigned by Mr. Lee. They bowed, full of fear. But Yibei immediately burned the two remaining students. Mr. Lee then bowed, begging for forgiveness, and he promised to do whatever he could. Yibei then asked him if he knew who made the tune for him. Then, Mr. Lee replied if he didn't know it. The sweat dripped down his face even more profusely afterwards, because right in front of his eyes, Yibei showed a terrible smile. "Then what's the point of holding you back if you don't know it?" said Yibei. Mr. Lee then begged for forgiveness once again, and explained that Jinjianbu in Yufan town must have known something. Yibei gasped as if he remembered something, and he asked Mr. Lee to explain what he meant. Then, Mr. Lee explains in short that Jinjianbu is a very, very strong intelligence organization that will provide any information if it is paid properly. It must be difficult to develop an intelligence organization to such a point. According to the reckless nature of that old bastard, he thought that he seemed to know the leader of the organization. Yes, the information he needed was enough, so Yibei then immediately killed Mr. Lee only wants to remind him not to be greedy in the next life. That's how our MC is very brutal. And right after that, a system voice then told him to quickly find the students so he could get a gift for every student he met. Yibei then laughed like a child because his turn to get a good harvest had come. Yibei then left his tomb temple and his journey to find the 108 students finally started. News about the riot at the tomb spread like the wind, and one of his students, Zhuge Fu, became very angry when she heard the news. She is the 36th ranked student who is currently the highest level master array in Central Plants. As soon as she heard the news of his teacher's tomb riot, she then immediately sent her subordinate to immediately ask Jinji Umbu to inform the other news. Zhuge Fu also seems to want to teach the tomb raiders a lesson, because it seems she doesn't know if Yibei has managed to revive and finish them off. She is also still trying to learn the ancient secret formations of fairies that can revive a person. So with that, it becomes clear that she does not yet know the awakening of her teacher. The scene moved and showed Yibei, who has now reached Tianfuan City. He looked surprised because the city was now much more developed and bustling compared to the last time he saw it 300 years ago. Not long after, his stomach was rumbling very loudly, and of course it was, because he had not eaten for hundreds of years. Yibei's hungry tongue then spoke and rushed to find a restaurant by stopping by a shop to ask about which restaurant was the best in Yunfan City. Luckily, the shop owner was very friendly, so the shop owner asked him if it was House and Lu restaurant. However, Yibei didn't know anything. The owner of the shop then told him that it was across the street, where many people were waiting in line. That place is very, very famous. House and Lao and McDonald's chicken? Am I come back to the earth? Said Yibei shockingly. I don't know why, but it's very random, and if we look at it from what he said, it looks like he is a reincarnator. Aside from that, the shop owner then told Yibei that the House and Lao restaurant was able to develop because of the city's master chef, who is very skilled. Unfortunately, she is now in the Holy Realm and rarely appears herself in the world. It is said that the master chef is a woman who is very beautiful, and that's how the shop owner really hopes to see her beauty. After saying that, the shop owner offered the weapon set to Yi-Bei, but he didn't care. At that time, Yi-Bei remembered his student, Tan Shirao, who is also good at cooking. Yi-Bei also thought that maybe she was the person mentioned by the shop owner. So because of his curiosity, Yi-Bei then immediately rushed to the House and Lu restaurant. At that restaurant, Yi-Bei was given a menu book like a usual restaurant. He then took a look and he found that it was only photoquang food alone that looked special, and at the same time, a man named Pan on the side table ordered the photoquang. Mr. Pan looked like a pervert who's carrying two girls. It can be said that he was a rich man, and sure enough photoquang is the most expensive food in that restaurant, which was 10.000 coin gold. Not wanting to be outdone by him, Yi-Bei then immediately ordered a photoquang food too. Because moreover, he was really curious about that food. The waiter then asked him to pay in advance according to the rules, and Yi-Bei gave 5 very expensive spirit stones, and it's clearly more than 10,000 coins gold, but Yi-Bei didn't ask for change and gave it as tips. Of course, the people immediately started talking about it, because moreover, Yi-Bei also paid more than the young master, who was very famous. Their words made Mr. Pan very annoyed, but he didn't do anything aside from that. The order finally arrived, and Mr. Pan began to be arrogant to his two girls while Yi-Bei was quietly enjoying his food. Yi-Bei was really curious about whether the cooking would be like his students' cooking. Slowly, he started to lift his spoon, and just as he was chewing the food, he immediately stopped. "Who made this photoquang? Is this food for pigs?" said him very angry. Mr. Pan and the two girls immediately cursed at him. "It seems you have never seen the world, huh? Can't you taste good food?" said Mr. Pan. "Stupid. This kind of dish is just can lie to idiot people with lots of money," answered Yi-Bei. Mr. Pan, the young master, of course got very angry hearing those words. But right at the same time, a waiter then came. The waiter told Yi-Bei that the person who cooked it was a master chef, and Yi-Bei asked the waiter to immediately call the chef. Not long after, the master chef named Dong Lu came. He then asked Yi-Bei why he was protesting against his cooking. Then, Yi-Bei explained that the ingredients had to dry first for 7 to 49 days before being used. Then, the rib is undercooked, and it was cooked too badly. The abalone was overcooked and the meat was too tough to eat. The broth wasn't hot enough. The food totally failed. To respond to Yi-Bei's explanation, unexpectedly, Dong Lu prostrated asking sorry, because he realized that Yi-Bei's words are not nonsense. Seeing that, the young master was very surprised. He immediately protested to Chef Dong Lu, but the chef only answered if what Yi-Bei said was actually true and the food isn't really that good. "You admit it? Didn't you prove covertly if that means I like to eat trash?" said the young master. "I can't say that you're wrong about that. Maybe people like you do deserve to eat trash," said Yi-Bei. "What did you say?" answered the young master angrily. "I said, people like you only deserve to eat trash. Can you hear clearly? Are you looking for death?" said Mr. Pan. He threw a fireball, but he was able to easily stop it by hitting Mr. Pan's face to the table. "What kind of trash are you? You dare to get angry? I think you're a pretty awesome person, but that's only you can do," said Yi-Bei. "Let me go. Otherwise, you won't be safe." "Okay, I want to see what you can do." Yi-Bei then kicked the young master too hard to make him fall out of the restaurant. The waiters immediately tried hard to save him while Yi-Bei is still asked Mr. Pan to prove his words, even though he was already unconscious. Chef Dong Lu was very surprised to see that because Yi-Bei's cultivation should be at the concentration level while the young master is at the Tong Swan level, which is much higher than Yi-Bei's. Chef Dong Lu then told Yi-Bei that he was in trouble now, but Yi-Bei was confused by what he was saying, because he himself had even erased Mr. Pan's cultivation. Hearing that, of course, Chef Dong Lu was very surprised because a person who has lost cultivation is like dying. This cultivation itself is basically internal energy, which is the basis of one's strength in that world, and because of that, people who have lost their cultivation are considered dead because they are no longer useful. To put it simply, it's the same as losing magic power in the world of magic. That's more or less how it is. But of course, what did Chef Dong Lu meant when warning Yi Bei is not that thing? Mr. Pan himself is someone from a sect which is the highest power in Yunfuan City. The cultivations of some of the oldest within the sect having reached the Holy Realm stage, and even their oldest having reached it 100 years ago. That's the real problem. They will not remain silent after Yi Bei beat one of their core students. Don't worry, there's only one sect, and I will handle all of them when they come. Ah, I'm very hungry. I still have to fill my stomach, said Yi Bei to response. Chef Dong Lu too, of course, very surprised to hear Yi Bei's response, even though he then also immediately prepared food for him afterwards because he didn't want to make him angry again. After the fuss with the young master, Yi Bei then asked Chef Dong Lu to immediately prepare food for him because he felt hungry. Chef Dong Lu then rushed to cook, and long story short, the dish was finally ready. Yi Bei then started to enjoy his food, and while eating, he then asked the chef if he could call the chef master. Dong Lu looked worried because the chef master had gone to the Holy Realm hundreds years ago, and the last time he saw her was 5 years ago. Yi Bei then confirmed, asking if that meant the chef master didn't manage the restaurant anymore. And Dong Lu replied if that was true, and the master chef is even passing down the restaurant to her students, and one of them was Dong Lu. Yi Bei is not really surprised, because he had expected it. Only the damn system that requires those looking for his students made him quite annoyed. Moving to another topic, Yi Bei asked Chef Dong Lu Yu if he knew where Jinji Umbu was. Jinji Umbu? Is that a sect? Asked Dong Lu back, because he didn't know anything. Alright, forget it, please go. Apart from that, I also asked for food and accommodation for today. Yi Bei answered, and Dong Lu immediately said yes. After that, the scene moved to the Xiang sect, and a scream was heard throughout the room expressing a shock that Wen Hong's cultivation was abolished. The news about Yi Bei, who caused chaos at House and Lu restaurant, was spread like a wind. And a man whose scream is the master from Xiang sect. He couldn't accept that his favorite student was humiliated like that. He's very angry and wanted to kill Yi Bei immediately. But one of his disciples tried to calm him down. Master, please calm down. The young Master Pan was injured by a young man whose cultivation was only at the concentration stage, but he could erase cultivation with one move. This person must be extraordinary. At this time, the 3 leaders who led the troops are also going somewhere. So, it's not suitable to take action. Please rethink, asked one student, while the other students looked violent. Okay, then send someone to keep an eye on House and Lu and the boys' movements. I will definitely take care of that boy until thousands of deaths, said the master firmly, ignoring his student's warning. The scene moved to Zhuge Fu and Lai Yushan, Yi Bei's students, which ranked in 36th and 20th. They visited their teacher's tomb, and they became furious when they knew that their teacher's body was missing. The teacher's body should be out of the realm of body refining that would be of no use to ordinary people. But, if it is the Lord of the Holy Land, so what? If alive the Lord of the Holy Land, how dare they steal the teacher's body? Even if I fight this life, I will bring the teacher back. My sister, wait. Someone triggered the traps outside the tomb and broke the formation. They're coming soon, so get ready. Alright. How dare they come to our master's tomb? I won't let anyone escape. Zujfu and Lai Yushan noticed a group of people coming. Oh my gosh, the formation skills of the 3 elders are really great. Even for just a few seconds, all the traps were cleared, a group of people finally arrived at the door, and sure enough, they were the people from the sect that had been mentioned earlier. That's right. This time, we will definitely get a large amount of treasure. What is this? I was just getting ready to move and the door opened just like that. You guys are very brave. You guys dare to rob the tomb, pretending to be a guard. Don't you and I have the same goal? Give the treasure, then I'll spare your lives. A person who looks like one of the old, then threatens Zujfu and Lai Yushan. They both ignore it. My sister, how much do we want to kill? Yes, everyone who came here, they deserve it. In this case, don't blame us for bullying weak girls. Attack! A group of students then start to attack Lai Yushan and Zhuge Fu. Signaling the start, Zhuge Fu fought, then immediately activated her formation of a large information circle, then appeared from behind her back, along with it a smaller circle formation, then also started to appear, right under the footing of the Jiang sect troops. Ecstasy, said Zujfu, activating her information, and her eyes then turned into a circle terrifying formation. A terrifying demonic aura then radiated out from behind her back, making everyone extremely fearless, and the next moment, all the circle formations activated and a chill began to spread throughout the room, taking everyone's souls, leaving eldest secret alone. Of course the leader became very frightened after seeing such a terrifying formation. He really couldn't believe what he was seeing because I was going for him alone. He wasn't able to attain that power. Hey, what is your relationship with a soul-devouring demon, and how did you make such a formation? Asked the leader of the Xiong sect, but Zujfu just ignored him. A strange soul shape then appeared in the palm of her hand. No, you can't kill me, said a security chief who was fearless as a large formation beneath him started to activate, while Zhuge Fu walked towards him. A bright, red eye then appeared on the palm of the raised hand, and the next moment, he began to dry up as if his soul was being eaten out. Zhuge Fu's ability was very terrible, but it didn't end there. Li Yushan also beheaded that sect leader and made sure they finished the fight. Zhuge Fu, why haven't you grown over the years? Your ability to steal memories is far worse than our teacher's ability. I can only look at the teacher's realm. Hey, I'm just kidding, okay? Let's go to the senior Tuer that Xiong sect was. They then immediately rushed to take revenge on the Xiong sect. And at this point, we can find out if Zhuge Fu's power is related to soul eating. After that, the Acme showed Dong Lu's house in the capital of Yunfan City, where he was meditating there. It's been half a day since he meditated like that, and he also broke through to the second stage of concentration. I do have the perfect talent to change my life against the sky. This was really cool too. Then, Yi Bei looked out the window afterwards and found something he didn't expect. Yi Bei then immediately asked Dong Lu what was going on outside, and Dong Lu then explained that outside, he saw a ship the size of a mountain passing through the sky. Yi Bei seemed to remember something when he heard that, as if the airplane was something familiar to him. Yuppie's curiosity then immediately rushed to the city, and Dong Lu too then followed it. Shortly, they finally arrived at the city, and Yi Bei began to look at the sky, while Dong Lu was struggling because he was trying to catch Yi Bei, which was very, very fast. Dong Lu was also confused about why he could be that fast, even though his cultivation was still at the concentration stage. But he also doesn't have the nerve to ask. Yes, actually the answer is of course very easy, that is, because in fact, Yi Bei is a demon emperor of the highest level. Even 1% of his full strength may already be much stronger than any normal person. Finally, they found an airplane that was flying through the air, and that's right, that's a ship. It was very big, about the size of a mountain. Seeing that, Yi Bei became even more convinced that it must have been made by his student, Li Yushan. Dong Lu and then told Yi Bei that the airplane was right under the triangle, who thought if maybe it was theirs. And without thinking, Yi Bei then decided to rush there even though he was their target. Arriving in the area, we could see a girl flying in the air, and sure enough she was Lai Yushan, which then immediately provoked the leader of a sect, named Su Yuanho, to get out immediately. People began to perceive it as stress as a response. Naturally, because from their point of view, Lai Yushan was the strongest sect master in Yunfan City. Donglu had the same thoughts as them, but on the contrary, he smiled happily seeing Lai Yuzhen as she was none other than the first disciple he met. In around Xiang's sect, Yibei finally found his first student, Lai Yushan. Of course, he was happy because it happened. At that time, Lai Yushan indirectly represented her dealing with a sect, although. On the other hand, he was of course also curious about why could Lai Yuzhen have problems with. By the way, at this time, there was Yuzhen, who had started the battle a long time ago, and the sky had also started to darken, which meant that the battle had also been going on for quite a long time. She always tries to find Yuang's tomb where her teacher is buried. At least, as big as they have tried more than 13 times in 2 years, and of course, they have taken a lot of it. Because of that, Lu Yuzhen really hates that section and feels maybe if it is lost, the teacher was in touch with them returning to the laydown fight and then asking the name of his opponent, but his opponent ignored it. He was watching their fight and then told him that he was the eldest, that is, just breaking through to the 8th level of the Holy Realm a while ago. His nickname is a Venal of Swords, which is famous for being able to cut mountains and rivers with just a light swing energy. Don't want to die, it's not your turn yet, Yuzhen said, then raised her middle finger and raised a fire to envelop her. On the other hand, the sect leader immediately attacked her, slashing his sword and creating a wave of incredible slashes. She just reacted casually and then stretched out her hand with outstretched fingers. Thunder immediately shot straight into the attack. They clashed, making quite a powerful explosion in the sky. With this extraordinary power, no one except the master can defeat her. Is she a very strong holy emperor? Thought the sect leader, who panicked because right in front of him, a giant hand kept shooting after the previous explosion. If it continues like this, I'm afraid I won't survive. The sect leader, who was then slashing his sword, made many sword slashes at once and a giant firework was created when Yuzhen's sword succeeded in exploding a shine of her. The leader of Xiang's sect was able to survive even though he fell because of that explosion. You still want to run? I won't let you. Yuzhen then activated her formation by raising her sword and creating a number of thunder from the formation circle. The leader of Xiang's sect also flinched at that sight. But before he could do anything, the thunder laser directly hit him hard. How strong she is. Now, the master from the Holy Realm was defeated miserably and people started gossiping because right in front of them, the leader of Xiang's sect was unconscious. Who dares to make trouble with the Xiang sect? So, she's Yushan. I wonder why Yushan was mad. The sect master, who just came then saluted Lai Yushan. Give me all the things you stole from Huang's tomb. Then, I can release your people, said Yuzhen, who then raised her sword at Su Yanho. The next moment, Lao Yushan immediately raised her sword as she changed thought, and she then immediately shot a very strong thunder wave because she wanted to kill Su Yanho. Responding to that, Su Yanho then raised his 2 fingers to activate his formation and a blue lightning appeared to crash into the thunder. The 2 powers are almost gone because it seems to be balanced. It seems that if I kill you, there will be a lot of compliments coming my way, said Su Yanho. Hey, is that so? Then you might as well give it a try. Attack the Xiang sects, all of them. Yushan gave instructions, then many swords slashed really fast. Su Yanho then pressed his 3 fingers together to activate the formation. He seemed to exert a lot of strength for that, and a shield then appeared above him protecting him and several people around him from the swords. Su Yanho then smiled because he thought that he'd succeed. But suddenly, Lai Yushan's ship then fired a magic cannon that amazingly leveled the ground under it. Su Yanho managed to avoid it, although of course he was very surprised, not expecting the attack. On the other side, the students from Xiang sect immediately ran away because they realized that their sect was now in danger. Chef Donglu also started to panic and asked Yibei to leave immediately. But Yibei just smiled and asked him to be quiet because the exciting part was just about to start. You think I'm a weak person? Let me show you. Su Yanho then clasped his palms together like a ninja, followed by several other elders to activate the formation. And a blue lightning sword was then created. It was the combined power of 7 people at once, so of course the strength was extraordinary. The sword was then splattered towards La Yushan very quickly, making the night sky really very beautiful. In response to the attack, La Yushan then shouted and concentrated her strength, and it was seen that her appearance was slightly different and looked beautiful. Now, La Yushan's clothes is black. It seems that she changed her clothes at her ship. Looking Yushan appearance, Yibei laughed. Then, Chef Donglu asked, "Why did Yibei laugh?" Donglu then looked at the sky, and in an instant, he became stunned because of La Yushan's appearance. "It is a very nice outfit, isn't it? And it can immediately avoid the terrifying combined sword energy," he said. "Yes, that's very beautiful, and she really deserves to be my student," thought Yibei, who then smiled shyly. That way, with that outfit, Yushan managed to withstand Su Yanho's combined attacks. She then started to attack back, releasing 2 waves of red thunder that meandered across. The waves of red thunder that also managed to finish off all the eldest in an instant, and only one managed to dodge it by jumping higher, and he's Su Yanho. Then, he immediately responded by activating a formation from his palm. A large number of formation circles then appeared around La Yushan, and a chain tied her. "Damn. I'm really careless," said La Yushan, who couldn't move. "La Yushan, you're the one who forced me to do this." Su Yanho also launched a sharp lightning. "Oh, darn it." It's over, however, suddenly, Zhuge came from the ship. "Su Yanho, if you hurt my sister, I'm going to finish off your people." She then throws a sword of light to destroy the chain that holds La Yushan, but it just makes her scream too sickly. Zhuge was looking confused as to what's really going on. "Do you think that with your strength, you can break through God's seal?" Su Yanho also laughed very confidently. But unexpectedly, someone then countered his attack. That person is none other than Yibei, who won't let his student die just like that. Seeing that, Su Yanho was really surprised because his attack just reversed. He was also wondering about how that person did it, while his reversed attack shot towards him. On the other side, Zhuge immediately joined with La Yushan because she realized who had just arrived. She immediately knelt down to pay respects to her teacher, and likewise Lei Yushan. "You don't need to be polite. You two, take care of Su Yanho first," then, both of them immediately bowed. Not long after, Su Yanho, who had just been hit by his own attack, immediately approached them and gave off a horrible emperor aura. "This is a red blood emperor of the Holy Land. You dare to kill the people in my territory? Now, I give you a chance to wash away your sins. Kill yourself, otherwise, the people around you will be buried with you." "Killing myself? Are you dreaming? My teacher is watching me from behind. In this battle, I'd rather die than give up." "Hey, you're scaring people with just the divine aura of the great emperor. Do you think your strength is enough?" Yibei then starts concentrating power in his palm. "Why? You don't want to comply with this rule? This is my world, the Holy Land." Again, Su Yanho is still focusing his attention on Li Yuzhen and Zhuge. He didn't care about Yibei because his cultivation was still at the level of concentration. Su Yanho then focused his strength in his punch because he ran out of patience. And right after that, his body suddenly disappeared. Only his head was left because it was hit by an attack straight from the sky. Even though they immediately realized that it was their teacher who launched the attack. Then, they seemed to want to ask their teacher about why he attacked Su Yanho, but Yibei then immediately told them to be quiet before they could say anything. Yes, Yibei is worrying for his 2 students because the enemy turned out to be stronger than he thought. The scene moved to the realm where is far away from Yibei's place. In the realm, which called Holy Land, there is a floating castle. As for in the middle of that result, there is an old man sitting up there, and that person is none other than Su Yanho, who is actually a red blood emperor. Damn. There are ants that dare to fight me in the Holy Land. Then, he called his maids. In the next moment, a magic needle then appeared right above his head. What? How could those be here? They should have gone with the clone. Then, the needle punctured his head, making him unable to continue his words. Meanwhile, on the other side, Yibei then smiled as if he could feel the incident because it was indeed he who released the magic needle at him. Not long after too, the Crimson Emperor's servants finally arrived only to find him already fallen now. The maids then immediately called the healer, and shortly after, the Flame Emperor then came. He was wondering about what exactly happened, and a maid told him that the blood-red emperor had been pricked by a needle out of nowhere. The Flame Emperor then hurriedly checked on his state. Red blood. Don't die, please. What is the level of concentration? What's the connection to the concentration level? The Flame Emperor was screaming in panic, but the blood-red emperor didn't answer anymore. The Fire Emperor then checked the blood-red emperor's pulse, and it seemed he realized something. He realized that the blood-red emperor's wound was very fatal and even killed his soul. Instead of avenging, this Flame Emperor actually felt fear and began to wonder about what kind of strong person the blood-red emperor had alluded to. So, their holy realm, such as the title of emperor, was only given to people who had reached the cultivation of emperor. Everyone can get that title as long as they can develop their cultivation to the point of emperor. Above the emperor, it seems there is a refinement cultivation, which seems to be the cultivation level of the highest level. 300 years ago, Yi Bei was already at that cultivation level. So that's why he is called the Supreme Demon Emperor. More or less, that's the concept used. Along with the story, it will surely answer itself. So that's all for this video. After the battle against Su Yan-ho, all the sect students then knelt in front of Yi Bei. Even though Yi Bei, himself, didn't really care about them because his two students were also in front of him. Teacher, we miss you so much. You're finally willing to come back to see us again. Don't worry, I have found the secret realm of the ancient fairy. There must be something that can awaken you, my teacher. Your student swears that no matter what the price is, your student will awaken you. Yes, the two of them still think that the teacher is just an illusion or some kind of dead person who happens to visit, so that's what they say like that. Stop crying, because if you keep crying, you won't look pretty anymore. Am I dreaming? The teacher is really talking to me now. 300 years, I waited for 300 years so I can finally see my teacher so close. So, they both pinch each other like children. You, stupid students. Do you still think I'm just your hallucination? Yi Bei hit them both on the head lightly with his finger. La Yushan also cried when she felt that bit of pain, as did Zhu Bufu. That's right. I'm a teacher, and will be resurrected as a teacher. Can you hit me? I'm really scared if this was all just a dream. The two of them were still crying like a child for a long time, while Yi Bei's system voice then beeped notifying the reward of reuniting with the disciples. For the first disciple's prize was an increase in cultivation speed, and from the second disciple was 100 years of cultivation. Yi Bei then tried an absorbed aura around, and sure enough he managed to absorb it 10 times faster. Knowing that, Yi Bei became even more excited to find his disciples again because there was a possibility that it would increase to 100 times afterwards. But this added a 100-year-old disciple's cultivation? How to use it? Yi Bei was confused. The system then tells him if he just needs to connect to the students and distribute it to them. Very simple. Is direct contact also work? The system also answers that it will work. Yi Bei then smiles hearing that answer, because he just got an idea. He then takes out a whip. Responding to that, Zhu Bufu and La Yushan looked amazed because in their opinion, it looks great. Yi Bei then used their carelessness in challenging strong opponents as an excuse to be punished with 10 whippings. Zhu Bufu and La Yushan didn't even protest with that, and in fact, they immediately gave their bodies. The punishment began, and both of them then actually felt good because moreover, their cultivation also increased rapidly and they got at least 50 years for each person. It was basically a gift given by Yi Bei to them, and of course both of them also realized it. Then, Yi Bei immediately invited them to go because he wanted to quickly find other students who had strong attack power to help the two students who worked as their support.